Hello, friends. Welcome to Prophetic Worldview. It is Thursday, August the 8th, 2024. And thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video today. This is going to be a short video. And basically, this is a Middle East alert. Now, I want to just clarify something. I know there are so many different channels out there and folks on different platforms that, you know, every time rhetoric is spoken between the two countries of Israel and Iran, and of course the proxies, Hezbollah and what have you, everybody gets up in arms and says, you know, here it comes. The attack is going to take place at this hour and that hour. That's not what this is about. And I appreciate everybody's perspective. There's so many different analysis that we can look at that would gauge us and give us hints. But, you know, it's kind of getting to the point where you keep hearing this, you know, it's crying wolf, and you click on, you know, your email, and this is another alert, another alert, another alert. Great information, but nobody knows the time of this particular war that's going to take place. But I have this prophetic utterance and word and warning to you, and here's what the Lord said. He said, the sudden war in the Middle East, the sudden war in the Middle East. And what does that mean? So let me clarify that, unpack this. Again, I'm not going to take a lot of time out of your day. The sudden war in the Middle East. In other words, there is going to be, when this happens, it will be a suddenly. It's not going to be one of those things that's going to be announced. The announcements have already been made. The preparation that is happening right now is astounding on all sides. The amount of armament, the amount of weaponry, the amount of nuclear capacities of weaponry, naval, Air Force, you know, air, land, sea, all of this on all sides is building. It's to this crescendo, to this moment, to where it's going to be this sudden attack. And I want us to recognize and realize that it's not going to be one of these things again that's announced and, hey, here we go, we're going to do this thing. This is way different than the attacks we've seen in the past and the retaliations. There is too much cargo and you know, merchandise of death that's coming from Russia pouring in to Iran. And again, most folks don't know, but you know, Iran and Russia have a covenant. They've had it for years, an agreement for years. I remember when I first started studying prophecy, hearing about that covenant between each other, that Russia would come to their aid. And I always thought to myself, wow, you know, when something goes down in the Middle East, Iran has a big brother that's going to be right there helping them. And then, of course, you have China that's going to help them. And then you have North Korea that's going to help them. And you have the BRICS nations that are not going to allow their coalition and all their hard work that they've done over the years, to defeat the dollar, defeat the West stronghold and sovereignty over the world. They're not going to let it all fall down and be destroyed over a conflict. They're going to confederate. They're going to come together in order to stop the West. And Israel happens to be in the middle of that. So again, what I'm trying to clarify is that this thing is going to happen when we're not expecting it. Now, I say that this way as well. We are expecting it in the sense of it's building up. We're waiting. But I don't think, and I don't feel that we're going to have this, you know, an announcement, you know, hey, 1, 2, 3, boom, here it goes. You know, it's going to be one of those things that once this barrage happens, it's going to be unstoppable. I believe that Hezbollah, with their thousands of rockets, are going to just rain down, overwhelm Israel, while the other nations are coming at them. And I believe that this is the beginning of the Psalms 83 war. which will lead to, as a precursor to Ezekiel 38:39. Now, some people, they argue that and would have you, but I'm not going to get into theology and eschatology. I just believe that that's what this looks like, lead into. And if it does, it's going to be absolute all-out war, incredible war, crazy war. So again, the clarification is, it's not just, a few bombs here and there. We're talking about a barrage, an invasion, an attack, and just, if you will, metal flying everywhere, bombs flying everywhere, missiles flying everywhere, lead flying everywhere, and then dealing with not only things aerial, you're going to see land assaults. So I think the purpose of reaching out to you guys today is to just, take it easy, keep your head on the swivel, be prayed up. Don't freak out on every time somebody sends out an alert. And I know we want information and those different things, but it's not. I don't think it's going to happen that way. I don't think that's the way this thing's going to be announced. I think, again, it's going to be a sudden war in the Middle East. And what I mean, again, yes, it's building up. Yes, we're expecting it, but the impact, the ignition point, the explosion is going to be just sudden. And I think it is going to be jaw-dropping. I think it will make Russia and Ukraine pale into insignificance. There is so much eternal hatred over Ishmael and Isaac, so much eternal hatred over that region of the world against the West. There's a lot of unfinished business. There's a lot of bloodshed from assassinations and terrorism on all sides. And it is going to be just hatred. And I want you to realize that. I want you to hear those words. This will be a war of hatred. Hatred. War in itself is enemy versus enemy, and there's hatred, and soldiers are trained to hate the other guy and fight to the death. But this is different. This is supernatural. This is spiritual. This is generational. This is prophetic. This is deep. This is wide. This is beyond the imagination. This is beyond just a normal conflict. And when this thing rains down and happens, this box, if you will, that opens up, and what comes out of it, we're not going to like it. This is going to be ugly, and it's going to affect the world. It's going to affect us, because this is the apex. In other words, this is the central of Bible prophecy, being Israel, and the central of wars that lead to all wars, or the end of all wars, which is Armageddon. And so if we're at precursor stages to Armageddon, and the best that we can see theologically and eschatology-wise, end-time studies, is there is a Psalms 83 and a Ezekiel 38:39, maybe some skirmishes and conflicts in between, then that means, we're marching towards Armageddon. Let's take that back. We're running towards Armageddon. And so it's a suddenly, everything begins to change. And so when this happens, it suddenly changes everything for us here in the States. So don't take that word as in a knee-jerk reaction, because if that were so, as soon as that Hamas politician, political leader, negotiator, was assassinated, there would be bombs flying all over the place. But it wasn't that way. Why? Because they're building up. They're building up. And war takes a long time. Those of us who served in the military, once the big machine gets moving, the military machine gets moving, man, it's hard to stop it. But it takes a little while to crank it up. It takes a while to move stuff from place to place and procurement and to get everything ready. So the longer we wait, this is what I want you to hear. The longer we wait, the more dangerous this becomes. Write that down somewhere. The longer we wait, the more dangerous it becomes. It would be better for the sparks to happen immediately, start flying, and then you get a quicker result, maybe a quicker ending, and the fuse goes out and people they say, okay, we did enough damage, we're pretty satisfied. But when they are building up on all sides, the proxies, the United States, Israel, and any other allies together, UK, France, what have you, when that starts to happen, this is going to be a brawl. It is going to be a brawl. And so the ramifications are, it comes back home to us. The ramifications are, just like an earthquake has a tsunami, this earthquake of a Middle East war will be a tsunami that hits the shores of our country. I think there's simultaneously going to be terrorism. I think the sleeper cells will be activated before or after. And again, it will be a suddenly, please understand that. And please, when you get these alerts of what have you from people, you got to get away from the mindset of, oh, we're going to sit back with popcorn and watch it there. We're going to have our own issues here. There is no doubt in my mind, between now and the end of this year, we will have that on our shores, and we will be preoccupied. In fact, as it moves further into end times, further into revelatory times, you're not going to find the United States in a place to defend, because we're going to be in a place of deep trouble. We're going to be in a place of defending ourselves here. And ultimately, as Mystery Babylon and Babylon itself, the daughter of Babylon, whatever you want to call us, we burn. And that's just the way prophecy is, and that's just the way it reads. And you can argue and you can have different views. It's fine, and we'll all find out as time moves on. I always tell you that the greatest lithium test of any prophecy, not only the Word of God is the ultimate tester, but it's time. It's time, and we'll see. But I wanted to bring that out to you, that the sudden war in the Middle East is coming. Again, it's going to be fast. It's going to be furious. It's going to be frightening. And I think it's going to be to where we are just going to be in a chaotic moment. It's not going to stay there on their shores. Please get that through your family's mind. Get that through your heart, through your mind. Get that normal bias, malice, that whole just that callousness and the stuff that we use to block truth and reality and say, well, it can't happen here, it's not going to happen here, my pastor said and this guy said. Get that out of your mind and say, okay, here's a good thing for you. Just do the what if. What if it happens? Are you prepared? What if happens? What if it happens? Are you prepared to in your finances? Are you prepared in your home? What if North Korea detonates an EMP with a satellite that many experts believe they already have floating over us? What do you do? See, it's going to be a suddenly, and I want you to be prepared for that, because I don't want any of us to be caught off guard. Let me read to you a quick scripture, and I'm going to get out of your way today. It's in Psalms 83, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just want to read the beginning here. It says, keep not thou silent, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. They make a tumult. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Remember that. It is ultimately Satan, the kingdom of darkness, versus the Lord Jesus Christ, the kingdom of life and the kingdom of light. That's what all this internal hatred is truly about. Verse 3, and they have taken crafty counsel. Notice that, crafty counsel, not hurriedly, not speedily, not quick. They took crafty counsel. What are they doing right now? Talking. What were the different nations, the Islamic nations, what were they doing recently in a meeting? They were talking, strategizing. What communique is happening between Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, and here and there, and Syria? They're crafting. They're having counsel together. They're sneaky, if you will. Okay, and this is why we have to be careful here in you know, these different platforms. Say that we know it. No, what we're doing is we're analyzing and picking certain things out, but we really don't know the total details. People use dates, you know, coming up maybe the 11th through the 13th, I've heard, because of the specific day in Israel. You know, if it is, it is. But it's going to be one of those things where you're either going to wake up to it, it's going to come across your phone, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, bam, and it is just going to be crazy. So watch this as I get out of your way. Crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. There's your hatred. They hate Israel. You know that. We know that. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, or basically become a confederation. They are confederate against thee. Then later on in Psalms 83, it gives you the rundown of these nations. People like Bill Salas and others say, you know, it's the inner and outer rings and different things of the Islamic nations. Regardless of how you look at it, I'm just warning you, just letting you know, encouraging you, edifying you, that this will be a sudden thing. And my final comment on that, if it's going to be a sudden thing, you're running out of time to get some stuff done. You're running out of time to make a quick run to the Walmart or wherever to get your supplies. Will we ever be completely ready in every aspect of preparations? Absolutely not. That's where faith comes in and hope in God. But don't procrastinate. I've told you before through prophetic utterances that we're out of time, and I believe that. I believe that the season of planning into the future is no longer a luxury for us. What we're going to do, we need to do now, because the suddenlies of God are about to take place. Those are those dominoes. Suddenly. Again, it can teeter, it can totter, but as soon as it falls, you can't stop it. And I believe that's where we're headed. So, again, situational awareness. Have your head on a swivel. Prepare as you can. You may want to go get extra fuel. I mean, there's so many people that are way better at giving advice than me. I'll tell you, for my house, we're doing a 360, looking around, saying, okay, if this suddenly happens when I go to bed tonight, did I take care of some of the business that I needed to take care of that will at least give me a better chance to survive, or a better chance to thrive, or a better chance to move further, you know, into weeks and months of supplies or what have you. I don't want to be caught off guard. So I hope that helps you guys. Nothing in panic, nothing in fear. Everything is done by faith, and that's what we do as believers. Thanks a lot for taking your time with me on this prophetic worldview Middle East alert, and I pray that you take these things to the Lord as always, and just remember, you don't have any troubles. All you need is faith in God. I love you.